So spawning on Yonzu, down in the bottom left-hand position, as the green Zerg player. He represents Team Dignitas, recently re-signing with them. None other than Tefel. And his opponent, to the top right, the yellow Zerg, representing CSC, it's Minato. Best of 1, it is a round of 32 game. I want to say, is it actually a round of 32 game? No, round of 16 game, I take that back. Tefel advanced through over Violet, if I'm not mistaken, so already taken down a pretty strong Korean player there. So, what are these two going to be throwing out? No early pulls that I can see for the moment. That's good news for us because it's not going to be a super quick ZvZ. Could still be other things, could be some kind of speedling play. Could be some Zergling Baneling plays, all very viable, but unlikely to be super aggressive just because they're both looking to be relatively macro orientated. I'm actually most interested to see what Tefel is going to be throwing down. He goes for a 14 pull. That is a bit earlier with the current meta. Normally Zerg players will go for a 15 pull or a 15 hatch if they're going economic. This means that you're a little bit safer, you can be a bit more aggressive, your Zerglings come out a little sooner still. So some interesting times could be coming down, especially with that gas. This could certainly end up being some very fast Banelings, a very fast speed based play. Hatchery going to be coming down for Tefel after this. So this is something that really Minato does need to be a little bit cautious about. He's going to be getting his own speed down fairly quick though by going hatch gas pull. The downside to getting the gas down earlier though is that your queens are later, your Zerglings are later, your spawning pool is a good 60 seconds on behind that of your opponents if they go for a 15 or 14 spawning pool build. So neither player really getting much information on the other yet. Minato just gets a little peek that, okay, hatchery there. Tefel gets a little peek at his opponent's hatchery as well, going, okay, we're both making natural bases. Good to see. Let's head up into the main and see when that came down from Tefel. Meanwhile, Minato just saying, yep, natural base, that's all I wanted to see. I'm not being all in. Although that could change pretty quickly. Speed can start fairly soon for Tefel. Minato can also start up his speed relatively quickly as well though, due to the fact that he went that gas pool build. However, Tefel is going to be able to scout that, and what he's going to be looking for is the shimmering of the spawning pool, but also how many drones are still there. Sees that there are still 3 drones mining. Meanwhile, Tefel has pulled out all of his drones from the extractor and is just going to be using speedlings exclusively for the next couple of minutes. Minato should have options to go into Banelings if he wants to. That'll put him in a very strong defensive position and potentially offensive position as well if he does decide to commit heavily to them. His 2 queens have now popped out. Overall drone counts slightly favouring Minato, although Tefel should take a lead in the next couple of seconds. He's decided to continue going up, getting a Baneling nest which is scouted by an absolute money run-in from those 2 Zerglings. They get all of the required information. Also force a little cancel there on, I believe it was an evolution chamber. Doesn't want to allow that drone to die. Tefel just going to lose a couple of resources cancelling. Meanwhile, over at Minato's base, he's going straight up to the Roach Warren. No Baneling nest going to be coming down. Also, speed? No. Wow, okay. Speed has been cancelled by both players. What? Okay, Roach Baneling nest. Roach Bane probably going to be coming in now from Tefel. Just trying to mix things up. Meanwhile, speed was definitely cancelled by Minato. Trying to fake out his opponent, going, guess what, I'm getting speed. Don't try and go for a mass speedling play. Then transitioning into the Roach Warren. Super early. Roach Bane up against Roach Slowling will work quite nicely for Tefel if that's what he's planning. He could also be sitting there just getting out defensive Banelings and amassing Roaches as quickly as possible. It's another viable build that can work out really nicely. So just keeping a close eye on everything coming down here at the moment. We've got the extractor on its way out now for Minato. That's his 2nd gas. Meanwhile, Tefel, he's currently still sitting on 1 gas, but he does have 10 Roaches, 11 Roaches now in production. Most likely going to be aggressive with these. Over on Minato's side though, he's already up to 8 Roaches, but is droning behind this. So he's going to be looking to just poke and prod. The concern is going to be that, hey, my opponent has got far more Roaches than me. And if he gets caught in a bad position and loses this fight badly, which definitely could happen, it will be very problematic for him. Across now come these roaches. They're looking for a nice avenue of attack. A few zerglings there as well. They're just going to come and creep down. Few will die to the roaches at the moment, but for the most part, Minato sees a decent roach force and decides, nah, this isn't for me. I'm backing off home and I'm going to try and put up a good defense while attempting to secure my third hatch. Cancels it, and I think that's a smart move. Cancelling that, it would have been tough to hold, especially if Minato was scouted there. Tefel could just move over and there just isn't enough units at the moment, as we see by the spines being placed in a bit of an emergency. Tefel adding in drones behind this, so this isn't an all-in by any means. He's going to start his third base as well. We can see the drone coming down there. In now come the roaches. They're going to be looking to poke away at anything that they find. The banelings, only 2 of them ready to connect with any zerglings that may be down. A few lings for Tefel really enhance the trade for him, because they'll get focused first by the roaches of Minato, reducing the damage his own roaches take. But being forced to back away, defender's advantage proving too strong, and Tefel is down now to just 13 roaches to the 21 of Minato. Minato also has the +1 roach speed coming down. He's got +1 missile attack already finished. But Tefel is going to have his third out around 45 seconds earlier than that of Minato. That's a good economic lead if he wants to take it, and could really pay off well for him. So the roaches at the moment chipping away at these rocks, trying to get as much damage down as they can just to quickly secure this fast reinforcement path through. And it's not only reinforcements, it's also the angle. You can use this high ground to get a better concave on your opponent defensively, and that's something Tefel may have to utilize momentarily. Minato is using creep spread to bring a spine crawler forward, which is an unusual strategy, but the engagement already going down. Minato with the better upgrades, but Tefel with the better concave here. Tefel also has better numbers, as we're seeing, really allowing him to win, but with road speed completed for his opponent, there is no chance of chasing down that army, and it allows Minato just to take the safe retreat for the moment. With 10 minutes 40 into this game for the time being, upgrades are looking heavily in Minato's favour. 2-0 about to be coming down, whereas 1-0 still not finished yet for Tefel. That's going to cause him a few slight problems. Meanwhile though, Tefel isn't doing anything too crazy either. His lair is ridiculously late, ridiculously late, and that means that he won't have road speed for a long time. He can't start the +2 attack, anything like that. Oh well, this is ZvZ times. This is a very passive ZvZ where both players opting for those roaches, and for the most part it's going to allow them to tech up fairly happily, get their economies sorted, and nothing too dangerous to happen anytime soon. We'll next likely see some deviation between the two builds when we start seeing timing of things like infestation pits and also hydrodens. Both are viable. The infestation pits, of course, fungal growths deal a ton of damage to armoured units such as roaches. But it's not only the fungal growth dealing the damage that's important, it's also the lockdown. If you were to get fungal growth on a group of roaches, it automatically sets you up to get a better concave. But Tefel instead opting for the hydroden first. That's going to get a lot of DPS out on the field relatively cheaply and could be very beneficial for our green Zerg player. Meanwhile though, Minato moving across the map. Army supplies just favouring Minato, albeit just by 6. You've got to remember the reinforcements are coming across for Minato, whereas Tefel already has them in his army, probably stopping this from working too much better. +2 and road speed on their way through still for Tefel, so he's got to stay on creep, can't be aggressive when he knows that his opponent's roaches have speed whereas his own do not. But all while he's playing it safe and cautious, nothing disastrous is going to happen. Both players approaching max out. The key difference, it is literally just a roach ball coming down from Minato, whereas Tefel is sprinkling in a like dashing of Hydralisk, and that really does enhance the DPS that your army puts out and can swing things into your favour. Not to mention that the Hydras have a better range, which inherently can be very beneficial. Engagement coming in though now. Flank from the side looking very strong for Minato. He gets a complete surface area on his opponent's roaches. He's got the upgrade lead as well, allowing him to do quite well. Roach count is heavily in Minato's favour for the moment, with defender's advantage still there for Tefel. Minato trying to make this work. A couple of Hydras up on the high ground, aiding with a good amount of DPS, and Tefel is going to be able to hold this. Both players taking significant losses, but pretty similar losses on both sides. As a result, this was a mutual trade. Neither player getting an advantage here yet. Both players very similar in terms of the worker count. 2 worker lead for Tefel at the moment, but so small that it shouldn't make a huge amount of difference as of yet. Tefel's about to get +2 though, and that is going to make a difference at least until +1 carapace is complete for Minato, because that will do a lot to level out those upgrades that we're seeing so far. Nothing else really occurring at the moment. The extractor just coming down, taking 6 gases is Minato. Meanwhile, Tefel, he's up at 6 gases, but only has 2 drones in his 4th and 5th geyser, reducing his gas income fractionally, as we can see here, just a little bit smaller than that of Minato's for now. Minato deciding that those Hydralisks do seem to dish out a fair chunk of damage, so he's making a Hydra Den for himself, ready to really see how this game can go if he gets out that higher DPS. Meanwhile, it's just a game of cat and mouse. Neither player really wants to engage. Neither player really wants to force a fight. They just want to try and pick away any stray overlords that could be, maintain map dominance, but it looks like it's Minato who's going to go for this, hugging up his roaches. Will the Hydras do enough here for Tefel? He is down by the +1 carapace upgrade, but regardless, the sheer numbers for Tefel and now good attack arc seem to be bearing him quite well in this fight. Reinforcements are still coming through though at the moment for Minato. The roach count heavily though up in Tefel's favour, 19-6, and he looks to be carrying on this momentum that he's just gathered to try and punch through and deal some damage. Waiting just for these remaining roaches, the stragglers, the Hydras to make their way across. But without doubt, Minato is now in a little bit of a rock. He's got to find a way to push his way through, get out of this, and take a good trade. Because if he doesn't, Tefel has got a solid economy up by 4 workers and just the tech advantage to really take this game if he wants it. The only concern for Tefel is that his 4th is not yet done, whereas it is finished here for Minato. That's going to give him some additional income if he's able to utilize it, but also, even without any drones there, it gives him extra lava production, and that's nothing but good news for him. Tefel, he's going for his own 4th base. Not too much really else to be said, just roaches and Hydras coming out, the +1 carapace. No +3 started. Of course, that takes Hive to work with Tefel. Moves in, snipes down a spine, and backs back out. Doesn't want to force a trade that he doesn't feel confident he can win. Re-engaging though, as the choke would have been favourable for the green Zerg player. But Minato, just on the ball. Quick reactions, playing it very cautious. Evolution Chamber, gonna fall here, just a nice little snipe off, and it looks like Tefel, yet again, taking this trade. A couple of roaches and Hydras trying to come in from the flank at the moment. A better concave for Tefel as it stands. His Hydras engaging nicely. A couple of roaches, unfortunately, at the back, not able to be dishing out their damage. But Tefel now up by over double the army supply of his opponent and is tearing through the natural base, annihilating any drones there. Minato, well played, good luck comes down, and Tefel advances forward into the round of 8.